Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I have some very exciting news to share with you. I built a new chess tool called Novelty Hunter that is free and open source for all chess enjoyers out there. So Novelty Hunter was built for people that want to find new moves, interesting moves to add to their repertoires. So maybe you've been playing the main lines for too long and people already know all of the theory there. And basically the meta nowadays in professional chess is to always come up with new, fresh, tricky ideas to sort of throw your opponent off their ground, throw them off their knowledge, throw a little curveball, and try and get a new, fresh game that's where there's maybe less theory. So how does it work? We have this page here that's on my website. So we just drop a PGN here. I'm going to drop, for example, this old file that I had, well, not so old, it's from last year, of the European Championship. You need to set up this Lichess API token. This takes like 10 seconds. You just click this site here. I already have some keys here, but you just create a new one here. It's just one, you just need one. And then it's going to generate like a long string of text, and you just save that somewhere and you can just reuse it. You don't have to have several ones like I did. Like I just created many ones because I didn't save the key accidentally. So you just paste it there, leave all the default settings there. Then you can filter the games by a minimum of ELO. Usually there's more interesting ideas being played above a certain ELO threshold. I mean, if you take games of people at a lower level, then their novelty, so to speak, are not going to be as interesting, right? You can use stockfish evaluation. I'll get into that later on in the video, like explain how things come into play. But for now, I'm going to keep it off just to make it run faster. And you can select how many novelties you want. I'm going to put 5 just for illustration purposes. Analyze. Immediately, it will start analyzing these games. So basically, this 565 is the amount of filtered games, filtered by that minimum ELO threshold of 2400. So far, it has found 2 rare moves. So basically, it's scanning every single game, and through a series of operations, it is finding these rare moves and then calculating an interest score, which is this here on the right-hand side, based on some factors that I'll get into later. But first, I just want to let it run for a bit and find some moves. I believe it's taking around 4 to 5 seconds per game on average, that is, because some games will take longer. That basically depends on how many moves of theory they are playing. So if they are playing mainstream theory all the way until deep moves like 13, 14, 15, it will take much longer to actually find the rare moves. And the way this works is I'm always the program is always querying the Lichess database and coming back with the results. But again, I'll explain that later. So the results are in. Yeah, we can see here, you can see basically the games where these moves were played. You can browse through the games just like in any normal chess program. Oh, we have a little cat problem here. You have some information here. Again, I'll get into how these scores are computed later on. I'll get into how these scores are computed later on. But the main point of this program is the final interest score. So the rare moves that it finds are going to be sorted by this. You can see here, using the up and down arrow keys, I can browse through the games and look at these rare / interesting moves that it found. It assigns, and it's going to assign this final interest score. Of course, like an early disclaimer, like this has a lot of improvements to be made. Of course, I can see that here, for example, maybe this move isn't so interesting as it can transpose to knight bd7 on the next move, which probably has like thousands of games. Or it might not, right? That's what might make it interesting. Yeah, so it's a5, rook e1, bishop f1, knight b4. Okay, so this is the main gist of it. And again, you can select how many novelties you want and so on. It is free, it is open source, and like I came up with this idea when browsing through games of this tournament called the Bundesliga, which, if you don't know, is like the strongest chess league out there, where like hundreds or tens of really strong players like GMs and above, even elite players like 2700 plus, show up to play sometimes. And basically, if you're anywhere near professional chess, you spend a lot of time just browsing single-handedly through these games, like one by one, checking if there was any interesting moment, any interesting move, and if you can add that to your repertoire or analyze it and so on, get some new ideas. So this basically, like when I was doing that manually, I came up with this idea like this could 100% be automated. And so I used some of my software engineering abilities to use, also a lot of AI abilities. And I came up with this idea. So now on the second part of this video, I'm going to be talking about the way I calculate these formulas. So this rarity score, efficiency score, basically all these things here you see on screen. I'm going to be talking about how I calculate them. So if that's not really interesting to you and you just want to get your hands dirty with the program, you can absolutely get off the video and do that. But for those interested, so basically you can come here to my docs. This is in the page of the app as well. You come here to Novelty Hunter, and here you'll find this README section where the most important things are explained. So I'm trying to find rare moves between moves 5 and 15 of each game. For each of those moves, I'm querying the Lichess database, retrieving the results, which the results are just like the information about how many times each move has been played in every position, how many times black has won, white has won, and so on. And then a move is considered rare, first of all, if this proportion of the games after the rare move, also which I also refer to as follow-up games, divided by games after the most popular move are below 5%. This 5% is just a threshold that I set up. Of course, I could do anything else. And if the position has fewer than 500 follow-up games. I could also decrease this amount a lot, but for now, that is what I have. In terms of the scoring, so first we have this rarity score. This is the most self-explanatory. So it is 50% follow-up score plus 50% frequency score. The follow-up score is just 1 divided by the amount of follow-up games there are with the rare move. So basically, the fewer follow-up games there are, the larger this score will be. The frequency score is just this frequency divided by the threshold. The threshold is just an arbitrary amount I set up, which is this 5%. The frequency, I also added this little tooltip here to explain that. The frequency is not what the general name would suggest, which would be follow-up games divided by total games in a position. So for example, like in some position like this, there are 458 games like with this knight bd7 move played, and before there were 13,000. But this frequency is not these 400 divided by these 13,000. It's this 400 divided by the games after the most popular move in the position, which is probably castles. And I give an example here about this. So if we have a position where move A has 35 games, B has 35, C has 30, the normal frequency would dictate that C has 30% frequency. But comparing with the most popular move, the frequency would be 86%, which is much higher. And because it is much higher, we can much more quickly discard this move, like not consider it a rare move. Because in my opinion, this shouldn't be considered a rare move, because even though it has a low overall frequency, it is still very commonly played like if we compare it to the main line of the position. Okay, next, efficiency score. So this ideally measures whether the rare move was like effective in the game or not. So what I take into account first is this normalized Stockfish score, which is just the eval of Stockfish 5 moves later minus the eval after the novelty. So for example here, it evaluates the position right here after knight b7, and it evaluates it 5 moves later, which would be here, and it computes the difference, right? So it's basically trying to see whether the position improved after having played the rare move. And then 20% result score. I have to improve this a bit, but this is like the actual values, but this is the main gist of it. So based on who played the rare move, it looks at the score, it looks at the result, of the game, and then computes a score with this table. So in this case, for example, black played the rare move here on move 6 and won. And of course, because it's harder for black to win, I'm giving that a -1 score here. And then the efficiency score is 80% the Stockfish plus 20% the result, because of course the result can be misleading. For example, here we can see that the player with the black pieces is much higher rated, and also it's just like a one game, so the result could be sort of like, it could not mean anything, or it could. That's why I'm giving it, like, I'm keeping it there as a parameter, but it has a low importance. Much more importance is what the computer actually thinks, whether the position like improved or not. And then lastly, we have the early novelty score. This is very simply rewards novelties played earlier in the opening. So beginning at move 5, I'm just doing 5 divided by the move number. So I like in a perfect world, we would find a novelty very early on, and the lower limit that I have for that is move 5. If we can find a novelty at move 5, like a rare move, it is given a 1 here in this early novelty score. Otherwise, it's just 5 divided by that. So in this case, that's why this move has a very large early novelty score, because it's 5 divided by 6, which is almost 1. And then the interest score is, right now, it is 40% the early novelty score, because I really want to capitalize, or I really want to enhance moves that, like rare moves that were found very early in the opening, as opposed to some obscure line on move 13, 14. 40% efficiency score and 20% rarity score. I'm keeping the rarity score relatively smaller, because for the interest score to even be computed, then the rarity score, for the interest score to be computed, then the move was already considered rare based on this here, right? So that's the flow chart. The move is considered rare, and if so, then its interest score is calculated. And so that's why I'm giving the rarity score a lower importance here. Okay, I believe that is the main heart of the program. Some disclaimers here. The idea of the tool was completely thought of by me. The scoring functions were also completely designed by me with the help of other humans. I should actually change this here in the page. What I meant to say actually is the scoring functions were completely, they were initially designed by me, but then like the way I want to maintain this project is that people, it's an open source, so I want people to add contributions and add ideas. So in the future, I want to put here entirely designed by humans. That's what I meant to say. Almost all the code was written by AI, sort of vibe coded, as they say nowadays. So I don't have any expertise in front-end development, which is what this app requires. So I actually began by creating the project in Python, and then basically the AI migrated it to JavaScript, which again, I have very limited knowledge about. Of course, I had to revise it following the old 10-80-10 rule. You can Google that if you don't know what that is. It's just sort of a software engineering geek stuff. And most of the text in this page was written by me. I have lots of these disclaimers everywhere. I really feel like this is a bit off topic, but I feel like that's how the feature is going to develop, because we need some sort of method to the madness and to distinguish from what is just AI slop and what isn't. So I feel like these disclaimers are kind of useful. Anyways, getting back to the program, guys, to the app. I feel like this could save some people a lot of time. It is especially targeted for professional chess players, but even if you aren't a professional chess player, I mean, even at club level nowadays, the main lines are really just getting exhausted, right? And just saturated. And I have a lot of friends, even at lower levels, that need or want to come up with sort of interesting moves to throw their opponents off. So, hey, give this a shot. You can lower the limit if you want to find like even more moves. And yeah, it will take much less time than if you manually had to go through each and every single game that's being played. And yeah, it has a lot of things to improve as well, but I'm really happy with the result that I have thus far. And I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I will tweet about this. I will make some more posts, and I will see you soon with more chess content. Peace out.